Just in case you haven't heard the story, I'll give you a quick rundown. The story begins with a man in ancient biblical history that we call Father Abraham. He was a descendant of Moses and Noah and had been promised a very special son. When Abraham and his wife were in their golden years, God came to Abraham and told him that his wife would have given birth to the child in the year. She was about 90 years old at the time and didn't want to believe Abraham, but in 1 year they had their beloved son Isaac. Which brings us to the part where Abraham was tested. God later in the years asked Abraham to sacrifice Isaac to him. Abraham, understandably, deeply grieved. He couldn't understand it, but Abraham and Isaac both decided to obey God. At the last second, an angel stopped Abraham from sacrificing Isaac. A big test had been passed, and that meant that something important was afoot. But to the reader, the reason was not only unclear, it appeared like a cruel and heartless act from God. So now we are left to wonder what was behind this. Why would God do this? What we don't realize is the connection later down the family line. Remember all those begets in Genesis? Well, it explains a lot, including the fact that Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of the 12 tribes of Judah. Out of Judah came Mary and our Messiah, Jesus. So basically, Abraham would be a great grandfather to Jesus Christ, which highlights the fact that God was about to let his own son be sacrificed. And there we find the connection. Maybe God didn't want to be alone in his grief over the fact that he had to sacrifice his son to the world. Maybe he needed Abraham and everyone else to know the pain that God was feeling over his son, so that we could all understand and appreciate the love of a father for his son. Because we can now perceive a side of God, our Father, in a deeper way, we can experience in our own human understanding the grieving that God went through in sending Jesus through that particular genetic line. Keep in mind that God chose Abraham to test because he was closer to God than most, and that meant that if Abraham couldn't pass the test, then events could have occurred very differently, disastrous even. There's a chance that if Abraham didn't pass the test, then no one could. God chose Abraham very carefully. This story is about a father's love and a son's devotion. This highlighted fact puts the story in the complete and correct light and begs the question, what would you do if you stood in either of those fathers' shoes? God loves you. He's the best father ever. Make him yours today. Let this love bless you, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.